right. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining me this morning to celebrate some good news, something that's sorely needed these days. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the people who have made this day possible. I'm pleased to be joined by Betty Bogg, Executive Director of Connections for the Homeless here in Evanston, Elizabeth Tisdall, former mayor of Evanston, Joe Flanagan, chairman of the board for the Cook County Health Foundation, and actually the person who brought this idea to me, Alderman Cicely Fleming from Commissioner Suffredin's office, Christian Sorensen, Chief of Staff for Illinois Representative Robin Gable, Alderman Don Wilson, Alderman Robin Rue Simmons. I'd also like to thank our partners from the private sector who are supporting these efforts. Byline Bank, Tracy McGuire and Megan Bigman, NorthShore University Healthcare, Notary International, Lewis Sebring Family Foundation. And of course I'd like to thank Lisa Trigger and Michael Albert, who are our sign language interpreters. Thank you all for your partnership, generosity, and willingness to step up for your community in its time of greatest need. As I was saying, we're here to celebrate some good news. I'm proud to announce that we've officially reached our goal of $50,000 in private donations for our door-to-door meal delivery pilot program. This is in addition to the $30,000 in seed funding provided by Cook County's Bureau of Economic Development. And I'd like to thank Xochitl Flores, our bureau chief, for her good work. We'll serve meals from local restaurants to the homes of 60 recently housed individuals and families who were facing homelessness. I look forward to hearing from a local chef, Chef Q, and a program participant, Carlos, about their experience in a few minutes. These efforts represent a unique partnership. Our work with Connections for the Homeless is a great example of the good that can come when private, public, and nonprofit sectors partner to solve our problems. The scope of this partnership is also unique. It addresses intersecting issues: housing, food insecurity, and economic relief. This holistic approach demonstrates Cook County's commitment to helping communities in need work toward an equitable recovery. And while we're proud of this unique pilot program, we're doing lots more with Connections for the Homeless. In addition to the pilot, Cook County has partnered with Connections throughout the pandemic. The partnership has allowed us to deliver essential services to Cook County residents, including eviction prevention, emergency shelters, permanent housing programs, and as you just heard, hunger relief as well. To date, our partnership has funneled more than $3.3 million in CARES funding through the county and Connections to help local housing providers, restaurants, and the hospitality industry in Evanston and the North Shore. This includes $1.3 million in shelter support, $800,000 in eviction prevention funding, and $700,000 in rental assistance funding. We are also supporting similar homelessness response efforts throughout the suburbs. Since the pandemic began, Cook County has invested $82 million of CARES funding countywide through the Cook County Recovery Initiative, a network of recovery initiatives with partners across the suburbs. You can learn more about all of our recovery efforts through www.cookcountyil.gov/recovery. We have a long winter ahead of us, but there's hope on the horizon as we work to distribute the vaccines. In the meantime, we can't let our guard down. It'll be the summer and perhaps later before we have herd immunity, which is 70% of our population vaccinated. So it's important that we continue to wear our masks, to wash our hands, and to watch our distance. We have to stay focused. It's vital to all of us from all sectors that we partner together to make sure that our communities are safe and ensure a strong, equitable recovery. Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Betty Bogg, who is Executive Director of Connections for the Homeless, to say a few words.
Thank you, President Preckwinkle, and good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It's truly an honor to be here with you, your team, Connections supporters, staff, and clients to celebrate this achievement. As the leader of an agency serving residents of Northern Cook County who are struggling with what is certainly one of the hardest moments of their lives, it is inspiring to take a moment and reflect on how partnerships like ours can bring relief, compassion, and much-needed help through our eviction prevention, shelter, and housing services. We at Connections know the power of community partnerships well. In fact, it's in our DNA. This agency was born right here at Lake Street Church 36 years ago. We were founded by a group of inspired leaders who were determined to change their community and to shelter neighbors in need. So when Joe called me in the fall and said, "Betty, I have an idea of how we can feed folks you are serving and also help our struggling restaurants," I was happy to listen. Joe's inspired idea builds on a program we were already operating. Connections began sheltering families and individuals in local hotels when the shelter-in-place order went into effect in March. And we quickly had to find ways to safely feed the nearly 300 people, 70 of them children, who were in our care. That's when we started our restaurant partner program. But Joe helped us take the meal program to the next level and to do even more. As we were moving people out of hotels and into their own homes, this expansion will provide them with lunch and dinner for 5 days a week as they settled in. As you heard, Cook County invested the initial $30,000, and Joe helped us raise an additional $50,000, enough to run the program through late February. The program serves 60 individuals in 27 households, and we've distributed 1,800 meals to them so far, in addition to the 120,000 that we've given out through our hotel operations. I know that Carlos will tell you more about how important the program has been to him, but it's hard to overstate what kind of relief this effort has brought to the families and individuals we are moving from shelter in a hotel to their own place. Chef Q Ibrahim will speak to the impact on our restaurant partners such as hers, Vietnam Nam, La Principal, La Cocinita, and Firehouse Grill. The meal program is just one aspect of the broader partnership with Cook County. The county has been the largest funder of our expanded eviction prevention effort, and together we have prevented nearly 300 households from being evicted and falling into the cycle of homelessness. We served 100 of those individuals just in December. Forgive me 1 second, because I'm missing a page. Sorry. We know that eviction prevention, shelter, and housing are what's needed to end homelessness, and the county has become a critical partner in that work. Together, this partnership has led to the changing support, life-saving support for nearly 3,000 Cook County residents since the start of the pandemic. We know that homelessness requires a community response, and this partnership exemplifies what's possible when every member, forward-thinking government, engaged philanthropists, supportive businesses, and determined nonprofits step forward and work together. Initiatives like these highlight that when we help one neighbor, another benefits as well. The need for the critical services we offer continues to grow, and we know it's going to get worse before it gets better. But with the support of our partners, we are taking bold steps toward meeting that need and toward achieving our vision of ending homelessness in Northern Cook County. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to the great Joe Flanagan, who will speak next.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. I don't know how I have to live up to the great Joe Flanagan, Betty, but I will try. The exciting thing about this project to me was it was an opportunity to pull together government funding and support and wisdom the nonprofit leadership that Connections for the Homeless has been working at for years, and the private sector here in Evanston. I just wanted to take the first minute to really thank Betty and her team, Nia, and the Connections for the Homeless team for the wonderful work they have not only done in this project, but for what they've been doing to serve the hungry and the needy in Evanston since this pandemic started. I want to thank President Preckwinkle and her team, Dominic and Tochi and his team, that needed no convincing of the importance of this opportunity to strike quickly and to help so many people that need help today in Evanston. And the families and the businesses that helped out when I called to say, can you help out? They needed no convincing, and I want to thank Byline Bank for their generosity, NorthShore University Healthcare System, Rotary International, based right here in Evanston, the Lewis Sebring Family Foundation, and Mayor Tisdall, our former Mayor Tisdall, and her family foundation, as they stepped up and helped. Again, as I said, the exciting thing to me about this opportunity was for all these different folks to respond to a need quickly, right? We all know that this coronavirus pandemic has absolutely hammered so many families and so many people in our economy. And what can we do? I asked myself, what can I do to help these families? And it was so great because as I got to Betty and her team, they were working so closely with our restaurants who were in desperate need of help as well. So the idea was to build their capacity in serving the folks that needed so much help during this pandemic, and our restaurants, and those folks that are providing the food to so many of us. I own a business in town. My family I raised here in Evanston, and it was, I don't want to come back into this town to have a bunch of shuttered doors in terms of restaurants and small businesses. So this was an opportunity to create some economic money flowing through the system. And I guess the only other thing I would mention here today is if folks are watching this and they've seen it through other communities, are there other communities that can create programs like this to help these businesses and these people through this crisis? And I don't think it's a marathon. I think it's a sprint. I think it's now, I think it's today, and I think it's, just for the next several months. So let's work together to help make sure our restaurants are pulled through this, and the folks that so desperately need food and other services get what they need, because we're going to get through this, but I hope we can all pull through this together. And I'm excited to introduce Chef Q, who's one of our chefs, restaurateurs, who has been wonderful in creating so many of the great meals for the folks that are so desperately needed. So Chef Q Ibrahim, thanks for all you're doing, and welcome.
Good morning. I am Chef. Good morning. I'm Chef Q Ibrahim. I am a local resident of Evanston. I'm also the chef owner operator of Tirtz Imasi Zoteo in Evanston. For 9 months, I've been feeding our community. I lost my business March 26, as many restaurateurs around the Illinois community. We have suffered for 9 months. When we got the call to feed local residents from Connections, it was a no-brainer. I'm honored to be here because this is a direct response to a crisis. In a time of war, we would call on our army. In a tide of food insecurity and hunger, you've chosen to call on your chefs and restaurateurs, which is a brilliant partnership, because this means that we've created a sustainable environment. It means that I eat, and the restaurateurs eat, their staffs eat, but let alone the people and the participants of Connections for the Homeless eat as well. This has allowed me to retain some of my employees, as well as contribute to the economic growth of our economy. We've been able to partner with small farms, local purveyors, local artisans within our community. So it's allowed everyone to be able to grab some funding and get money that will help them support their households and their families, their children's, and the elders as well. I'm completely honored by this. it makes so much sense for us as restaurateurs and as chefs to be on the front line of this when hunger is involved. So Connections, I thank you for your work. I thank you for your heart. And Cook County, I thank you as well for your support. Carlos, you're all next.
Good morning, all. My name is Carlos Duane. I'm pleased to see all of y'all here, from staff to participants, through the help of the community. I am a participant in Connections. I'm very pleased and blessed to be, I reached out to Connections about 3 years ago. Ran into some rough going, and they've been a godsend. Connection wears so many hats. They deal with mental illness, homelessness, gangbangers. It don't matter. They help. And so for the last couple of years, they were extremely helpful, especially during this pandemic that has affected us all. They put us up in a hotel at a time. I have a saying I use all the time: you need help when you need help. When everything's going good, things are good. And so I'm here to say thank you for Madam President Preckwinkle, because Cook County, has stepped up, and that's very much appreciated. And then we go to the Connection staff, people that make you feel like they have the spirit of help. And the spirit of help, we get a lot of lip service from a lot of places, but they make you feel like family. They don't make you feel less than. And so they have a lot of great people working. Like I said, they wear so many hats. They house people, come here from all over. They don't have to be Evanston residents. And so, they're doing great work. So I do thank everyone here again, and stay safe during this pandemic. And have a good one. All right.
All right, Nick, go ahead. All right.
So the question is, are we still taking donations? The answer to that is always yes, as you might imagine. And what was the second part of the question?
If a restaurant or chef wants to get involved in the program, how would they get involved and what do you all do?
Well, our restaurant sort of coordinator, his name is Hail Kalaf. He's here today. There he is, right over there. We can make sure that folks have his contact information, and we're always looking for new restaurants to partner with. Got it. So our website is the word connect, the number 2, and then the word home. So www.connect2home.org. And you can also reach out to info@connect2home.org. So we've seen the need at least double, just in the need for shelter in the last 9 months. I would say one of the biggest concerns we have right now is our ability to respond to a looming eviction crisis. Rental assistance, such as the kind that the county is providing, has helped us keep people in their homes. Homelessness itself, aside from the traumatic impact, the human impact, is an expensive proposition for people. And we are deeply grateful that we can infuse sometimes very small amounts of cash and prevent that from ever happening. Even though there's currently an eviction moratorium, that does not erase people's debt to their landlords. And so we have to continue to respond to that. And that need is even for me hard to quantify right now, but it is more than what we have.
Betty, I'd add that we've got...
Why don't you go to the microphone?
The other thing that I would add is, what I have noticed is in our downtown areas, the traffic is so light, right? So we look at you look at all the impact on our small businesses that has been devastating, and so I guess I'd encourage people to continue to order out, pick up, order local, buy local, to help all our businesses locally, and you can tell as you drive into these downtown areas that the traffic is just not there, and so there's a great need in those and opportunities for people to continue to buy locally.
Anything else, Nick? All right, thank you, everybody.